Good evening once again, fine people of the internet. Pardon me, I forgot I had my own Twitch feed playing for a moment. Whoops. So, hello once again. So, as you may have noticed, I decided to upgrade my aesthetic a bit. That's right. No more of that scuff-ass, basic OBS, plain color and text loading screen. I got an actual one, courtesy of the wonderful Layla, or Lou if you prefer. He made some fantastic free loading screens and distributed them only a couple days ago. And I simply could not be more grateful for that, if I'm being quite honest. Because, at the moment, I'm, a bit short on cash, so I can't exactly afford to drop, premium dollars on, upgrading my aesthetic, despite how badly I need it. But, there he came, descending like an angel from the heavens, granting me the wish of some actually good stream aesthetic. I simply couldn't be more grateful. And on top of this, you may have also noticed, chat screen. Yes, indeedy. This is something I've, arguably needed for quite a while. Because, as, you know, I do like to talk a bunch, in between playing games and, dicking around on my DAW. But I didn't have a dedicated screen for that. But now I do. Again, thanks to Layla. Life is good sometimes. So, as I said on Twitter, today's game is Under Night, In Birth, EXE Late, CLR, or Clear. Quite the mouthful of a name that is, but it's a fantastic game, so I'm willing to put up with it. Same story as just about every other fighting game. With naming sense that bad, they must be good. That said, I am far too new with the game to just jump in and start wrecking faces online or anything. Not that I would want to anyways. This game unfortunately does not have rollback netcode, so it would be, probably something of a painful experience trying to do that. So, rather than subject myself to that immediately, I've elected to, instead stay offline for this particular stream. I'm going to simply check out the tutorial, and, time permitting, play some combo trials. So, I think that's enough ado. Let's just switch screens and observe. Yep, there we go. Look at this. Even better layout now. Ah, Thunderbird, my brother, good to see you. Check out the new layout. Pretty cool, right? So much less scuff than before. But at any rate, so, as you can see here, just, nothing special here, just the main menu. But, as stated before, we will be going into the tutorial. This is the main point of, the stream right here. Yes, thank you for that comment, Miss Yusuriha. So, as you can see, it's split into a number of different tutorials. Generally, the more fighting games you've played, the further on you can skip ahead. But I'm taking a walk before you crawl approach tonight. I'm simply going to start at the very beginning. So, novice it is. Let's see what they gotta say about this. Yep, real bare basic shit here. Assuming that you've never played a fighting game before. Which is, quite the luxury considering, a mere 5 or 6 years ago, they assumed that you would at least played Street Fighter before. Which is not the way to do it in any type of video game, much less, a sort of game that can get as technical as this. So, let's just go ahead and jump in. Yep, left and right, player 1 left, player 2 right. Standard stuff. Yep. Mosey on over. Good old English translation. Yep. Nothing too surprising there. If you've played any fighting game before, you've seen this a million times, but again, it's good that they go over this. You can't assume everybody who's ever played a fighting game has. Whatever.
Success.
Yep, real basic. Didn't even need to do anything. So, we'll move on. Just not moving the character.
Success.
Exceedingly brief. Yep. Forward to go forward, back to go back.
Success.
Yeah, who would have guessed? Crouching. Just hold down. And hold down back, because you'll be both crouching and guarding. Real basic, but still very appreciative that they did this.
Success.
Real simple. That said, there is one character that you would want to hold down forward with, but I will not be playing her. Ever. Because I have more respect for my fingers on that, so... If you want to explore her on your own time, her name is Batista. You can go ahead and look her up, but be advised, you're in for possibly the hardest character in a fighting game ever. She's cute, though. Maybe that'll be enough motivation for you. Hard to say. Speaking of cute, hello Cece. Pleasure to see you. Just glad to have you back in the fold in general. Just doing a bare basic shit here. Yeah, this is real mundane, but trust me, the more interesting / esoteric things will come in due time. So, yep. Just hold any direction to jump. She recommends up forward, so that you can approach as well. Behold. Whoops.
Success.
I swear I know where up forward is. I'm just, still new to arcade sticks here. Because yes, I am playing arcade stick. Switched away from pad. Yep. Any attack button will make them attack.
Success.
Real basic. Yep. We all know how a life gauge functions. I meant to make that look cooler than I thought, but... yeah. Only so much you can do when you're brand new to a game, right? Although I say that like I am brand new, I just, it's been a few months, let's put it that way. So, guarding, yep. Just hold any backwards direction. Real simple.
Success.
Yep. Matcha, yeah. Yeah, exactly, Batista is indeed the hardest character in this game, and like I said, fighters in general. That said, if I recall correctly, they pretty seriously reformulated her in BlazBlue Tag, so, maybe she's more manageable in that game. I wouldn't know, I've never played BlazBlue Tag. Anyways. More basic stuff. Just round icons. You've probably seen this before.
Success.
Yep. And that's novice done. Congratulations, you are not a complete scrub. So we'll jump right into beginner. Direction. Yep. We start facing each other. Real standard. Yes, I'm not surprised to hear that, generally. I might catch flack for saying this, but I honestly think the tag-style games tend to be on the easier side as far as fighters go. Because I remember I got pretty decent at Ultimate Marvel 3, and that game was pretty infamous for having exceedingly simple combo theory, despite how long they were. But I could just be talking out my ass, who's to say. Anyways, yes.
Success.
All real standard stuff. And then the gauges. And now the more esoteric gauges. Yep. Health gauge, you know this one. EXE gauge, which is basically under 9Es for the super meter. It's for supers, VXs, all that shit. And then the real unique meter, but I don't know how much detail they're going to go into this early on.
Success.
Which is not at all. But they'll explain that later, don't worry. So, dashing. Yep. Forward twice quickly.
Success.
Nothing too special there. And backstep. Same thing except backwards. And invincible frame. Comes in handy.
Success.
That said, doing backwards motion is one of the more pain in the ass things about using arcade stick. Generally, the way I tend to hold it, I have to pull it back, which can sometimes make it a bit of a pain to do, but such is life. I really need a hitbox or some shit, but that'll come later. I got enough investments to make as it is. Anyways, attacks. A, B, and C. Come to think of it, there's an idea for later streams. Should probably add a arcade stick overlay. Because I actually have sort of an unusual binding for this particular game. I have A, B, and C. So for those who are familiar with the common 6-button layout, common to fighting games, so I have A, B, and C bound to the top row, and then the bottom left button I have bound to D. Not that anyone asked, but that's just how I have it bound at the moment. I might change that later, but that just seemed to make most sense to me now, before properly playing. So, yes. A weak, B moderate, C heavy.
Success.
And they chain into each other. Again, common practice. Not that they mention that at the immediate moment, but they will later. And then crouching.
Success.
Jump attack. More bare basics.
Success.
Yeah, that's kind of the pain in the ass of a Hyde's medium in particular. It goes diagonally down. No range whatsoever. You want to jump in, you'll probably have to use A or C. So, A attack. Yep. Basic theory.
Success.
Oh, wow, I didn't have to hit him. Well, that works. So, more detail on B. Medium in every sense of the word. Big surprise.
Success.
Yeah, you'll have to pardon me if I don't have much to say about this. It's really explaining everything better than I could, in all honesty. There's nothing of the fact that, in a sense, I didn't really need to do this, but it's content. Yep, range and power. But yes, don't use it when it's too close. Frame disadvantage out the wazoo.
Success.
And then the unique moves. Activated by special inputs. So, these are Hyde's special inputs. Forward B. Down forward C.
Success.
Yep. Next up, the specials. Again, standard fighter stuff, just the usual quarter circles, which means we've immediately lost die, but such is life. So let's see what he's got.
Substance.
Button functions. I'm not sure what they mean by this. Damage. Ah, that's right. Ah, Zop. Yep. Yeah, don't mind me. Just, babby learning. So, yeah. Apparently,
Substance.
that's funny. I'm actually getting the, projectile right away. Because, something about Hyde. He has an alternate move where, if he's in the air and does the same input as that fireball you just saw, it, is a completely different attack. But the problem is, if you don't do the fireball input right, he'll end up leaving the ground and doing said different attack. So, if you see something along those lines, you'll know. And I just explained why. And now, canceling. Real vital stuff. We're gonna move into a different move. But, if you whiff the move, it doesn't cancel. Important to know. So, yep. A into B is a combo.
Substance.
Real basic stuff. And more combos. Yep. 3 hits. Yep. A, B, C.
Substance.
And then canceling into specials. I'll give you a second to read that. Behold. Whoops.
Substance.
See, observe that. What I did there, I hit the wrong button entirely. Which is sort of a disadvantage of how I set it up. I'm still in Guilty Gear mode here, where the weak attack was the bottom left as opposed to this setup I have here. Come to think of it, I might also experiment with SNK style 4 buttons in a row input. But that's for later. This would probably have been useful to put on, just so you can see what I'm doing, but yeah. Onwards and upwards. Jump cancels. Yes, indeed. Oh, you can only jump cancel once. I didn't even know that. Alright. Whoops, jumped too early.
Substance.
There we go. Nice and simple. Once you jump at the right time. And now, Smart Steer. This is effectively just a common mechanic in modern games where you just mash the weak attack over and over again and it'll just give you a canned combo to do. Couldn't be simpler. So, something they didn't mention in this particular section, if you keep doing that and you have enough meter, it will also automatically do a super move for you. Now, keep in mind, this is hardly an optimal, combo, so you'll, have to forgive me for that. And, that is absolutely fine, Zoptos, I don't blame you. Comcast hate. That assumes you use Comcast, and you may or may not. Alright. So, passing link. I don't quite recall what this mechanic is. I see. That's just their term for, canceling in. ABC. So, those of you familiar with Guilty Gear may know this as a Gatling combination. This particular mechanic is in almost every fighting game and goes by a lot of different names. It was known as, Yep, Gatlings, exactly. And, it was also known, I believe the first game to use something like this was Darkstalkers, and it was called Base Magic Series in that game. But again, just about every game has a mechanic like this nowadays. Unless they're, the more footsies-based Street Fighter or King of Fighters style games. But even so, they still have their own, combo logic to that. Not too different. Yep. But again, can't use the same move twice during a passing link. Oops. Wrong combination. I hit B and C at the same time. That activated a different attack. I don't know why I mentioned that out loud. You can see the inputs on the left. Whatever. So, crouching passing link. So, same as before. Layla, hello. I'm, happy to see you. Also, I saw the Twitter DM you just sent. Obviously, I can't answer it at the moment, but, we'll discuss that later. So, yes. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is the kind-hearted person who, made the layout you're looking at right now. I already mentioned how grateful I am for that, but I will be, I'll say it again. I'm really grateful for your layout. It looks fantastic. I am glad you managed to make my stream look significantly less scuffed. Back on task. Yep. Again, real basic. And now, look at this. You can mix it up. Standing and crouching. Yep. I'm honored you let me use it, so... Ah, too slow. There we go. That one was a bit tricky, but, again, my focus was a bit broken, so... There we go. Alright. Took me a couple of attempts, but again. Granted, combos like that aren't generally, I don't believe there are that many combos that are practical that force you to mix and match like that, so... We'll see. Crouching guard. So, yeah. Down back. Real simple stuff. And standing guard. I'll just let him corner me. Yep. More of the basic stuff. Guarding against loads. Only guarded using crouching. Yep. Real basic. And guarding against overheads. Notice I had to switch characters, because that's one of Hyde's disadvantages. He does not have a proper overhead. That doesn't take 2 days to start up. So, observe this. So again, they had to put in some mechanics, so you can't just hold down back all day and just wait for them to screw up. That's what overheads are for. Yep. Now again, no actual opponent's gonna telegraph them quite like that, so... They're gonna work them into combo strings, you're gonna have to watch out for them that way. And now, jump attack combos. Yep. Stand after Aiden. Yep. So what they wanted to do is he's gonna jump in, you have to block that standing, and then you switch to a crouch. So for those who are wondering why I did so badly at the Guilds of Gear tournament, it's because I was not doing that. If I was trying to block, I was holding down back, regardless of whether or not an attack would actually get blocked that way. And thus I got my shit kicked in. And yes, Zappa has a very good point. The overheads are generally slow in this game. As a matter of fact, this game isn't quite, doesn't have quite the crazy frame advantage that Guilty Gear does. My particular main character, Order Soul, had an attack that, if you did the cancels correctly, put you positive 43 on block. That sort of thing just does not happen in this particular game. Like, this game's idea of great frame advantage is -1. So, gotta be significantly more careful with your move choice. And yes, Zappa's correct, you also need to, throws are the best way to break defense. Oh, there is positive moves, I see. Yeah. I see. I guess the documentary I, took as reference, was probably from a few patches ago, so... outdated information, most likely. Assuming it was ever correct in the first place, which is a big assumption with those, well-intentioned YouTube videos, but... who's to say? Ah, Mika. I see. Just for the record, Zapdos is a Mika player, so he would know. And character defense, that's right. Anyways, throws. Okay, A plus D. This is the main reason I chose the control layout I did. Which, as a reminder, for the standard 6-button layout, my top 3 buttons are A, B, C in order, and then the bottom left button is D. No, that's fine. Input jumping is the entire reason for this tutorial, / this entire stream. I want that information dumped onto me. So, yes. Only close range, but cannot be guarded against. So, just close in. There we go. God, that feels so satisfying after fucking playing so much Guilty Gear. With its 1-button throw. Yeah, there's a reason I didn't get a single throw-off on stream in that game. I hate 1-button throws. If the game does not have 2-button throws, then I can basically forget about using throws at all. Because I am a stupid Unga bastard. / just, generally not the best at choosing option selects or any of that, so... reverse throw. Yep. Switch places with the opponent. There we go. Yep, there we go. Yeah, the throw system is in depth. They're probably going to get to that. So, tips. Easily countered by an attack. Yep, watch this. There we go. I didn't even let him get an attack in, which I was probably supposed to do, but what are you gonna do? And now, effective low attacks. Yep. So, if they're trying to move backwards, we can get them with a low. Yep. Tons of lows. Lows are important. Low, low, low. Shout I got low, 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 low. I apologize. Yep. Wrong attack, silly me. Alright. Overhead with jump attacks. Which is pretty much the only way I'm going to be overheading people as this particular character. Standing guard. And again, this move continues to be an absolute pain in the ass to land, so... really praying I don't use that move accidentally too much. And now, guard stun. So, if you successfully guard, you'll be stuck in guard stun, which is usually called block stun. But this game calls it guard stun. Yeah, no, we're still in the bare beginnings, so they have not spoken about assaults yet. Yep, simple block strings, as I call them. Blocking combos. So, yeah. If you're wondering what an assault is, just hold on. They'll discuss it later. Stun end.
Success.
Surprised we're not illustrating that by having him attack me immediately, but I didn't make this tutorial. I'm just playing it. Quick recovery. Yep. Just hold down an attack button to do a quick recover. You'll usually hear this called a tech. So what I meant to do was, they're probably going to get to this later in the tutorial, but you can tech in 3 different directions. You can either backwards, stay where you are, or go forward. I meant to do all 3, but when I tried to do a forward tech, he just stayed in place. So that's why I neutral teched twice in a row. And time up. I'm not sure if this is the sort of game where this will come into play that much, but again, it's a critical mechanic, so they need to talk about it. Yep. And they had to establish that 99 is not 99 literal seconds. That is usually the case with most fighters. The time is not usually a dead literal 99 seconds or whatever. Unless you're playing Virtua Fighter or something. Good luck finding anybody who plays that nowadays, though.
Success.
And she just went over a sanctioned tactic. Well, sanctioned by the rules of the game, not so much the audience. Your audience generally doesn't want you to win by a timeout, but it's still a valid tactic. And now, draw. If you were there for the Guilty Gear tournament, you saw this on screen with my friend Dai. He managed to get a double knockout. Yep. Also, an even rarer occurrence, if time runs out and you both have exactly the same health, that's also a draw. Exactly. Rarely happens, but you never know. And again, if it's the last round, there'll be a tiebreaker. Yep. Oh shit, there is. I'll have to look that up after stream.
Success.
Because I will admit, in spite of it being easily the most technical fighter probably ever made, I do still have a bit of an interest in it. Because I really do need to explore 2D fighters more anyways. And now, command moves. Yep. Forward B. Yep. Real basic. All about using cool moves to win. I want that tattooed on my chest.
Success.
Just so true. And command inputs. They basically already talked about this. Yep, making an arc. Really basic unless you're Dai, but... Yep. And, yes, wrong way of inputting it. Basically, don't input it too slow. Yep. Quarter spin. Yep. And now, the infamous DP. We may or may not be stuck on this for a couple minutes because I'm still getting the hang of doing this on stick. So you'll have to forgive me if I look kind of scrubby here. So, yes. Forward, then quickly go down and down forward. Yep. Kind of difficult to do at first, but not that hard in the end. Yep. Hold forward and then try to quickly do a quarter circle. And yes, it's okay to get an extra direction. Ah, wow, I didn't know that. See, that's the beauty of modern fighters. They're not quite as precise as they used to be. If you tried to play Super Turbo and tried to do the sort of command she's talking about here, forget it. You're getting a Hadouken, or even worse, no move at all. Observe. Yeah, but then again, I also forgot to... That's also why I could never get a DP done in the Guilty Gear tournament either, because that game was also rather strict with its inputs. In fact, so strict that they actually had a special mechanic added to the PC version, but it only applied to half-circle moves, which was kind of a silly way of doing it, but that's our system works for you. And now commands. Down, down. Mortal Kombat style. Yeah, 626. That's acceptable, though. Like, I remember, if I recall correctly, Street Fighter 4 was kind of ridiculous about how easy it was to do. Like, you could press, like, 3-3 twice, or down, forward, twice to get a Dragon Punch. I would say that's where I sort of draw the line as far as, easing the inputs, but again, this is Capcom. They're after a big audience, and there are many casual players who do tend to check out Street Fighter just because it's a famous name. So in a sense, I have to do it, but it is what it is. So yes, down, down. More of a Mortal Kombat style special here. Right. Again, that's, I could have gotten that in my sleep if I was on pad, but I'm still on stick, so I ended up holding it by accident. Yeah, some of them have 2-2X. I'm glad you chimed in first, because I was about to say I thought Hyde was the only one with a move like that, but I'm also not surprised there are others. And now, half circle. I was just talking about this a minute ago. So, this is generally a super command. A super that I completely missed with. Let's get a little closer. And one more. Yep. Real simple. Well, to me at least. There are a lot of fighting game players and even several veterans who believe that half circles are outdated and that just shouldn't be used anymore. But I honestly don't think they're that hard. I think they have their place. Then again, this may just be my Guilty Gear bias speaking again, because they're a little more intense with it. Most of their supers are half circle back and then forward immediately afterwards. That move I could do pretty consistently. You probably saw me do a lot of supers back in the Guilty Gear tournament. But, like all things in life, it's a matter of opinion. And now, yeah, they keep some moves in check, exactly. Like, imagine if you had a grappler and their fucking command grab was a mere half circle. Skullgirl sort of made it work, but they had to have balanced it some way else. I don't recall how. It's been years since I played that. And he has charge motions. So, I'm gonna be level with y'all. I fucking hate charge motions. I do not play charge characters. I can never get the timing down on these. But again, they do teach it because it is a part of the game. Now again, this is another mechanic that certain people want removed from fighting games, which is why a lot of non-Street Fighter or SNK fighters have de-emphasized charge characters, but I believe they have their place. They do belong in fighting games, I just don't want to play them. So, without further ado, Christ almighty, no. You missed that section of the stream. I just said I will never play Batista. That character's ridiculous. We'll save that for Mata. Let him try her. So yeah, charging. I should probably have let him, there we go. I'll give you a second to read that. So yeah, just hold back for a little while and then press forward. See, the thing that kills you about charging is that the timing tends to change from game to game. In the older games, there's usually like a full second. Now it's like 30 frames or so. There's usually no real way to know. Just a matter of experimentation. Experimentation that I really don't particularly like doing in that context. I'd rather just use a quarter circle and get it over with, but again, this is how certain characters get balanced. And it has its place. So yes. So yes, any back direction works. Usually about a second. Alright, so
Success.
Yep, a full second. I didn't notice that they actually had a frame counter for how many frames you held a direction. That's useful to know. So yeah, about a second. In other words, 60 frames. So, yeah, same, charge down, up. This command is probably better known as a flash kick, for those who are more familiar with Street Fighter. The previous attack was usually known as Sonic Boom. And again, any down direction works as long as it's down backwards. Yes, 5 different charge attacks. And here's something they're probably going to go over in a second, but this is what sets Batista apart and makes her hard as fuck to play. She doesn't just have charging backwards, then forwards, and down and up. That's standard stuff for a fighting game. You see that all the time. Batista, on the other hand, has a lot of attacks that do the complete reverse. You have to hold forward, then go back and do the attack. And if I recall correctly, she has a charge up-down move, but I may be misremembering. But either way, that's something nobody's ever seen before. So, you can forget about that knowledge if you've ever tried a different game. Oh, so she does have an up-down. That's insane. So, yeah, again, do not expect her to play, I do not plan on becoming a Batista character, so sorry, Zop. Too early. I'm hitting the wrong button, dumbass. There we go. Oh, and she has a dash, not a run. That's even worse. Oh, and hold an attack. Yes, see, that I'm more familiar with because I played Virgil in UMBC 3. He had an attack like that. Which is not that crazy, but... Yep, see? Charge up, down. Again. They're gonna treat this like a... Well, they're gonna treat it basically, but again. This has never been seen before in a fighter, if I recall correctly, so... Yep. Up for about a second, then down. Did jumps even last an entire second? I guess we'll find out. And they don't have super jumps. Really strong so you can block right away. Ah, I see. So it's basically like built-in faultless defense breaking. Interesting. I suppose we'll have to do some experimentation then. And look at this. Guilty Gear Super Command. I was just talking about this. And Seth of all characters is the one that has this. Well, I'll roll with it. Yep. So, half circle, then forward. And it's a command grab. I didn't know that. Tutorial for it later. Yeah, I assume so. Because again, this is the beginner tutorial. They're going real basic to begin with. Okay, I've seen this particular input a lot, but never as the as a command grab. This, on the other hand, we have rotate. What's this? Big surprise, we're playing Waldstein, and the infamous 360. Full circle with the directions. Oh. Start from any direction you want. Ah. That's kind of unique. Usually they have you start with forward. Easy way to do it. You don't basically have to do a 360. Good to know. That said, I'm not going to be a whoop. I'm going to try to do it the standard way. Plus, I don't know if this particular game has it, but several games in the modern age, I believe Skullgirls was the pioneer of this particular mechanic, where the game will detect if you're trying to do a 360 and prevent you from jumping. Because that's the traditional really big problem with jumping. I mean, with 360 motions. Too easy to jump when you're trying to do the input. Unless you have, like, fingers of lightning. Wrong attack again. Yep.
Success.
There we go. Again, the luxury of a modern fighting game. These are generally much easier to do. If they had Street Fighter 2's input strictness, that probably would have taken me at least 10 minutes to go through. And that's the end of the beginner course. So, yes, let's move on to intermediate. Why not? Yep. Powerful moves to help in battle. And, yes, this is the part where they assume you've played a fighting game before. So they're probably going to talk about more the esoteric mechanics of this game. Starting from here. And as a matter of fact, the very first one is Assault. Zop just mentioned this earlier. He's basically assumed the role of the assistant teacher. Not that I mind. So yes, Assault. Forward plus D. The jump cannot be cancelled. Yep. What's this? So, this is a way it differs itself from Guilty Gear. Because in Guilty Gear, you would jump and you could basically do a forward air dash right from there. Whereas this, it's essentially similar to an instant air dash, except the instant air dash is your only option. Aerial Assault, same thing, just in the air. So, more like an air dash. And here's a mechanic I forgot to mention earlier, a second ago, where if you're on the ground, the assault will home in on the opponent, whereas if you use it in the air, it'll just launch past them. Got a bit ahead of myself there. And just as I expected, it's significantly easier to use that B attack higher up in the air. Rising moves won't hit overhead, but if you assault it overhead, that's good to know. I don't recall if they mentioned that later or not. And canceling unique moves, let's see. Just like normal moves. Good to know. However, certain moves may not let you cancel after hitting. So, forward B and down C. Yep. Remember this is important. Functions differ depending on the move used. And they don't give me an example. Well, that's unfortunate. Alright, dash attack. Smash Bros time. Typo, they forgot to put a space between of closing. Ah, it's a cross through. That could be useful. Hold on a second. Sorry, I had to rehydrate real quick. Increase. What do they mean by this? Charging it. I see. And they have a buffer. Even better. There. So. Interesting. Those affected. Very interesting. So, this actually isn't too common of a mechanic in fighting games. The only major one that I can think of that did something like this was Street Fighter Cross Tekken, where if you held down an attack, you could get access to stronger ones. Although that move was even crazier because if you held the button for long enough, it would let you do a free super. However, you were wide open to attack while doing that, so it wasn't completely free. So, let's do some charging. They don't let you charge for as long, though. It has a set charge. Alright, rush cancel. Let's see what this is about. Repeatedly entering the same commands. Usually they would call this I believe Dustloop calls this self-canceling, which is a wiki that is based around anime fighters, generally specializing in Arc System Works games, besides this one, obviously. So, very few openings, so it's safe. But Waldstein cannot use an attack this way. Whoops.
Success.
Yeah, I'm hitting D an awful lot when I mean to hit A. Maybe I should change this control scheme. Chip damage, yes. And it's funny that they choose Hide for the main tutorial character, because this is actually his main mechanic. Any normal attack he has that uses a sword inflicts chip damage. If I recall correctly, that's not a thing with anybody else on the cast. But Zop can correct me if I'm wrong. So, yes. Yep, they just mentioned this. Yep. Yep, see that? Chip damage. And now, projectiles. This should be simple enough to grasp. Attacks shot from a distance. Only some characters have projectiles, that's important to know. Projectile is invincible, so the opponent can't attack it. So no crazy Guilty Gear shenanigans where you can just punch a fireball and it'll go away. That was a mechanic with my main Order Soul. So, jump over them. And best used at a distance. Classic fireball zoning. They're probably going to discuss zoning later on, but that's a name you should remember. What's this? I forgot to hit the C projectile. The super projectile. And invincible moves. Exactly. Yep. Only certain characters have invincible moves. Yep. AB, charge C. Yep. There we go. And they probably, yep. Whoops. Whoops. I cannot get the DP for shit. There we go. Alright. Yep. Just had to return to neutral. Whoops. Too late. There we go. Alright. So yeah, that's the thing about using stick as opposed to D-pad. A stick, you have to return it to neutral before you switch up directions. Those of you more used to pad, that's probably going to be the biggest hurdle in getting used to them. But again, for me personally, the advantage of having big buttons to play with just outweighed the disadvantages. But, as with all things, your mileage may vary. Additional attacks. So basically, in other fighters, this is usually known as a target combo. Or a dial-a combo, depending on the game. Like, if you're into 3D fighters, you probably use attacks like this all the time, where you have to land one move and then it branches off into other moves. I'm really not the sort of person who's used to that, so that's kind of rough for me to wrap my head around. But again, okay, input an additional attack. All right, so additional attack. That's my mistake. They weren't talking about target combos. They were talking about Rekkas, named after the Street Fighter 2 move, the Rekka Ken from Fei Long, where if you pressed quarter circle and a button several times in a row, it allowed you to do a sort of repeated assault. That's what they meant by additional attack. Whereas in this game, it's a bit simpler than that. They just want you to hold back. Yep. Simple as that. EXE special. Powerful specials that use half of your super gauge. Why he's so hard? Yeah, that's strange. I didn't think I was having too much. That's strange. Usually you would expect the protagonist to be on the simpler end of things. That's strange. Then again, bringing back Virtua Fighter again, Akira is the poster boy of that series, and he is hard as fuck to use, so... I guess it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. Still a strange decision, though. So, if you have a suggestion for a better beginner character, I'm all ears. But again, I prefer protagonist Shoto sort of characters, so, that'll, take some experimentation for me. So, yes. Enough waffling. So, yeah, if you don't have enough super meter, it'll just do the B version instead. So, what's this? Whoops. I'm actually not sure if it did that automatically or if I had to hold back and keep mashing, but... either way, it worked. Oh, I get you, easy to learn, hard to master is one of those sorts of characters. I get it. Sort of like Accent Core Soul. Like, he's easy to play if you just want to play him as a usual Shoto, but if you want to use him optimally, you've got to learn to use Sidewinder. Which is precisely why I use Order Soul, because fuck that noise. The clean hit system can suck a fart out of my ass. Okay, Infinite Worth. These were some of the real flashy special attacks. And apparently it's universally half circle forward plus D. And of course they sell you using the, Okay, that was a particularly silly mistake of mine. I hit a button that was completely unbound. Infinite Worth the excess. I'm actually not sure what this is, or how to do it. So, I'll admit, I actually hit Ankidu Akatsuki Godo. I suppose I'll experiment a bit. I'll check them out when we get to the combo trials. Okay, Infinite Worth EXE. The strongest special attack available to the character. I see. Meet the criteria to use Infinite Worth, so full meter, and vitality must be at 30% or less. And it's just all 4 buttons. This is the sort of a command where having an arcade stick comes in handy, unless you use a macro. Alright. Let's see what he's about. Now that was a pretty damn anime attack. As you would expect from a game of this aesthetic. So, passing link order. Backtracking a bit. Ah, I see. So, this is a common mechanic to, the previous game by the same developer, Melty Blood. Get hyped for the sequel coming out later. But, yes. This is basically... or, no, my mistake. I was about to bring up a mechanic that we're probably going to bring up later. So, yes. Any link at all that you prefer. Alright, so let's see. That felt kind of strange to do. But I would assume it has its use, so... there's probably at least some optimal combo that uses a route like that. Jump attacks are on passing link. Since you can't use Smart Steer while you're in the air, you can't auto-combo. You gotta know how to use it to combo. Passing link with jumps. Alright. Wow, she wasn't kidding about quick reflexes. Okay, there we go. Come on. Ah. Okay, so apparently rising was the way to do it. So yeah, that's one of those mechanics that I'm glad they taught me, but I really hope I don't have to use that. And now, special attack combos. Use a special and a link. Yep. Kind of basic. At least cancel into a scene. Whoops. Yep. Nice and simple. Comboing into the super attack. Alright. Alright. Whoops. This might take me a couple of attempts to do. Whoops. Shit. So, fun fact, what I just did there was a chain shift. And I did that by complete accident. That's essentially this game's Roman cancel, but it has completely different execution parameters than Guilty Gear. Okay, I think I'm gonna just do the second section of the combo first, just to see if I can get that down before the whole thing. Because trying to do it all in a row is kind of not working for the moment. Okay, apparently my mistake is I'm pressing D too early there. Okay, somebody please ensure me that I'm not going full dark side Phil here and missing something obvious. Because this is kind of making me look like a fool here. There we go. Alright. Time it when he hits the ground, I see. That probably would have helped a lot had I done that instead. Because, I was looking at the inputs and I noticed that I was pressing D a little too early. That's how I was timing it. I got it to work that way eventually, but your method might work better for other people. Yes, learn from your opponent's mistakes. That's one of the first rules of fighting games. Alright, air combos. Gotta be level with you unless it's Marvel. I'm actually not too good at these. That's why you didn't see me do them much at the Guilty Gear tournament. I hope you're not making a drinking game out of how many times I compared situations the same to Guilty Gear, but that's kind of dangerous. At any rate. Alright. Too late. There we go. Alright. Significantly easier than the last combo. But probably still be embarrassingly long. So yeah, on the bright side, there's room for improvement here. If you try these trials yourself, you'll probably get them faster. Air guard, finally something simple. Certain projectiles and attacks, but only a few moves can be guarded this way. So again, this is another way it differentiates itself from Guilty Gear. Because in Guilty Gear, you can block anything as long as you're faultless defensing. However, if I recall correctly, this game doesn't have a mechanic like that. But maybe I just looked dumb. Maybe it does and it'll tell me about it later. Only one way to find out. Alright. At any rate.
Success.
Nice and simple. And now, teching. This is basically breaking throws. So that's another name. So yeah, that's why they changed the terminology up, because the recovery roll that we did a lot earlier, that's usually called attack, but this can also be called attack. I think they usually differentiate this by calling it a throw tech, but either way. Alright, so what's this? Tech as if you're going to throw them. Too early. Wow, that's quite a generous window they give you to tech. I assumed it would be a bit tighter than that. Like see, I would expect that if it was a block stun throw, but just a regular throw escape. That's strange, I don't remember that. Not that I'm complaining, I'm probably, that'll make it easier. Now, overheads with assaults. I believe Zop was talking about this earlier in the chat. Jump attack right after an assault. Quick overhead. Too late. Yeah, I was probably just rebind these controls later. But to what, I'm not sure. Maybe Zolp will be nice and tell me his particular setup, but... Then again, maybe he's a pad player and I'm asking in vain, but... There we go. Alright. Safely ending stun. If you end up with a risky attack, potential counter. With a specified attack. Alright. Yep, see. The projectile is safe on block, the Tatsu is not. I should probably clarify what a Tatsu is. That's short for Tatsumaki Senpu Kyaku. The famous attack of Ryu from Street Fighter. That uses the same command. Half circle back. So, yeah, if you hear Tatsu again, they're talking about a half circle back kick attack. Again, usually the protagonists have an attack like that. Overheading a guard stun. Difficult time countering attacks. Cancel into an overhead to get through a crouching guard. But they're usually slow. Alright. Yes, again. They have a very long time to get over that. Now again, I probably wouldn't use that in the context of an actual match. That's kind of risky, but they had to change it. Guard stun throws. This makes the opponent guard against a quick attack, then move in for a throw. Alright. Now see the gold. That gold aura means that the opponent has an extended window to attack. Which, considering apparently throw attacks are already rather generous by fighter standards in general, that's quite the tall order. Whoops. Yep. Rushing after a guard. Yep. Guard, no. Strike when the opponent present itself. Yep. Whoops. Mashed out too early. There we go. Perfect. Control with direction of recovery by inputting forward and back. Direction of recovery. Yep. So I was ahead of the game there. They covered this in the beginner's tutorial, but they didn't mention that you could do it directionally. Whoops. There we go. Alright. Having a strange amount of trouble doing a forward tech. Alright. Direction of recovery. And now, Vorpal State. Here's where they get into the real esoterics of the game, where the game truly sets itself apart. Awakened state called Vorpal. So it's basically like a minor league install super in another game. A bit complex, you need to fill the grid gauge. Yep. Diamond-shaped gauge at the bottom. That's the grid gauge. Empty. Each of you have 3 blocks. Yep. Now again, this is a critical mechanic. They're probably going to talk about it in a later tutorial, but again. Remember the grid gauge. That's a really important mechanic. Plus, it's Under Night's signature mechanic right here. Your grid gauge must be greater than the opponent's, and you'll need to wait about 7 seconds first. Move forward, hit attacks, successfully guard, and more. And you can also manually charge it just like this. And now, you wait for the grid to finish up. And just like that, I have earned Vorpal. As for what that'll actually do, that we'll probably say later. In order to go Vorpal, the grid gauge is beginning when the TS gauge cycles. The round gauge increases clockwise and does a full circle when the gauge fills at the very top. If it isn't more, you won't get Vorpal. If it isn't more than your opponent's. So if you're tied, I guess nothing happens. And apparently it charges slower the further you go. Observe, it's charging up like a crawl there. And concentration, that's basically what I just did. If you hold down D, it'll quickly fill. TS gauge is about to go full cycle. Fill 7 blocks. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Justice.
Good to know that 7's a recommended number. I assumed it would just be the 6 that were on my side. Now, force function. What's this? B and C, character specific move. So, deals massive damage and it over. Oh. Ah, good to know. If it's tied, we both get it. I didn't know that. Oh, no, that's fine. Said if you're working, I'm surprised you're even here at all. So yeah, I'm extra grateful for basically playing assistant teacher now. Jeez. So yeah, depletes 1 grid gauge block. Increase the opponent's grid gauge. That's important. And vulnerable, you only use half what's needed with the grid gauge. Alright, so, observe. Let's charge a bit. Just like that. And now, grid break. You understand called grid break if you take damage while your shield is up. While in this state, you can't use assaults or shields. Shield, that's right. This game does have a faultless defense equivalent. I misremembered completely. I apologize. Now, strike the opponent using a standing shield, and... yeah, throwing them is generally the easiest way to do it. Now, shield. Guard and press D. Significantly easier than in Guilty Gear. Because in that game, you faultless defense by holding back and 2 different buttons besides dust. Which is, not the easiest thing in the world to do on pad. Again, unless you're macro. So, yes. Use it strategically. Grid gauge will increase if you... I wonder if this game has a just defend mechanic too. They'll probably say so in a bit. Aerial shield, so essentially air FD. Not so common, but if they put it in the air, so they guard against attacks. Alright. Whoops. Whoops. There we go. Alright. And now, chain shift. This is essentially the Roman cancel. D twice quickly while in Vorpal. That's exceedingly simple. Use it as often as possible while going for Vorpal. And it also refills your super meter. There's even more advantages to it than that. Yep. Alright. Yep. It's that simple. Yep. Real simple. However, you won't be able to use it quite that easily in battle. Because again, you gotta be in Vorpal to do it, and the requirements for Vorpal are rather steep. As they should be, it's a very powerful mechanic. Really turns the tides. Fail off. ABC will EXE gaze at 100 or more, in exchange for all of it. Yep. So, this is essentially another way of, a different take on Vorpal, if you will. Again, it's a lot like an Astral Super. Yep. Bottom left and bottom right of the screen. Super meter. Now, again, it'll initially be empty, but it's 200. Veil off of ABC. Yep. EXE gauge use during Veil off. Any move that requires EXS regardless of the amount remaining. So essentially, you get infinite EX moves while you're in Vorpal. Or Veil off, my mistake. Alright. Very convenient, very convenient. EX special during Veil Off. Use less of your excess gauge while Veil Off is active. I see. So it's not infinite. There are still limits. Good to know. Or else they are theoretically infinite, but the time it takes to drain would make it. Would limit it. Right, combo containing 3 EX specials. Whoops. See, I'm doing a mistake I thought I would make earlier in the stream, where I'm doing the attack called Dark Lotus when I mean to do the attack named Orbiter, Dark Orbiter. All right. Yeah, you'll have to forgive me. I'm not the best at oops. See, I'm too used to Gills here. I'm trying to super jump. I forgot to activate Veil Off. No wonder it wasn't working. Whoops. Yeah, I'll just push it in the corner. That'll make it easier. There we go. Alright. That took way too many attempts for something that's relatively easy. Just wait till we get to the hard trials. I'll look like a complete dumbass there. Just know that it's probably slightly harder than it looks. C'est la vie. Alright. Time counter pause. Pauses during blackout transitions, such as with... Yep. Losing or running out of time. Turn everything around with those like infinite war. And no example. Command priorities. For example. If I do an attack like that, then it prioritizes the Shoryuken Dragon Punch over a Fireball. Command priority. That's good to know. So you don't inadvertently use a move during your command input. That's one of the reasons DPs used to be so hard, because there wasn't really a priority system like this in earlier fighters. Yep.
Success.
And again, no example. Intermediate course, alright. So, obviously that means we move on to Expert. And first up, Button Dash. Ah, real handy for an arcade stick user like me. So, forward and A plus B. Ah, yes, yes. That's incredibly useful. I'm glad to know this. But you can't guard while using that again. Wow, I'm glad I, all the more reason to play these tutorials. You will learn mechanics that you didn't even know were a thing. That is so incredibly useful, you have no idea. Because again, I'm, doing a double dash inputs is kind of jank to do on an arcade stick, so the fact that they would macro it like that is very generous of them. And now, dash effect. Using attacks or jumps while dashing adds a dash effect to the move used, which results in... so this is basically the closest thing they have to a super jump. Alright. Yep. Sort of upgrades the properties. Very useful to know. So... Dash guard. Very versatile move that even allows you to prepare a guard while dashing. I wonder if this is sort of like FD break. Whoops. Yeah, was a little too close that second time, but okay. Placing moves. Let's see what they meant by this. Moves that have a prolonged hit effect. Alright. Place your move beforehand. Read the opponent's attack. Alright. Whoops. I see. Whoops. See, look at that. Now again, any sane opponent wouldn't jump before using an attack like that. You would have to just cut out the middleman and assume they're going to use that attack. That's one of the difficult things about fighting games, but also one of the beautiful ones. Now, attacking whiffs. Let's see what this is about. Strike an opponent easily by attacking immediately after the opponent whiffs. Alright. Even if you target a whiff, slow attacks are easily guarded against. Quick attacks may not have the proper reach. Letting it barely miss. Alright. Down forward B. Right, just like that. There we go. I believe I wasn't supposed to block, I was supposed to move back from the beginning. Probably. I don't know for sure. Anti-airs. These are real important. Now, this was a lot of the reason, take another drink, I'm about to describe the Guilds of Gear tournament again. This is another reason I was having so much trouble playing as Soul, because he does not have a very good anti-air attack by default. The closest things he had were Jumping Punch and the, obviously he did have a Dragon Punch sort of attack. He had the Storm Viper, but that's slow and doesn't have much invincibility, so I didn't use it much. Whereas if I was playing regular Soul, I would have been able to use Volcanic Viper and just not think about it. I could have just used it the traditional way. But I was dead set on using Order Soul, and I paid the price for it. So, yes. Respect my space, please. Command anti-air. Couldn't be simpler. And now, rushing. Repeatedly, whether or not the attacks are guarded against is called rushing. So in other words, just rush that shit down. Just keep mashing and pray it hits. There we go. Alright. Did, press the wrong buttons a couple of times there. Probably took me one more attempt than I should have, but such is life. And now, hit confirms. Confirming hits. Same thing, really. Potato, potato. Physically confirm hits and determine the next move. Minimize risk. Maximize opportunity. So, crouch rush cancels. Alright. Whoops. Whoops. There we go. See, again, I had to wait for, I had to make sure he wasn't blocking. I had to make sure that I actually got the hit in. Critical little component there. And now, priority moves. Is this priority? Yep. So, for example, this character, whose name I forget off the top of my head, cute night girl. Yeah, you would think I would memorize the name of the night girl. I fucking love night girls. Not quite as much as I love elves, but what are you gonna do? So, yeah. We're at priority for lower attacks. So, yep. Alright. Whoops. Alright, see, I got the timing there. I was supposed to wait till after he finished jumping. I forgot their own system for telegraphing. Silly me. Nah, stun frames. Let's see what's up here. Time it takes for you to move after attacking is referred to as a stun. The stronger the move, the greater the stun. Alright. See? Just like the demonstrated, if I hit the A move, I was fine and dandy. I could have blocked immediately. But with the C move, I was stuck in recovery, so I could not block. Simple enough to memorize, right? Stun span. The amount of time disadvantage. So, essentially frame advantage we're talking about here. Differs depending on the move used. The opponent will do a vertical jump after they guard your attack. We will do the same. Alright. Jump a little more slowly, you're at a disadvantage. Alright. So yeah, this is actually kind of an old school way of determining what moves are faster than others. Because obviously, in the days before the internet, you couldn't easily access, you couldn't go on Mizumi and just see what the frame advantage of every move was. You basically had to hog an arcade machine with a friend, or else, bring the whole console version home. And, just do jank methods like this to determine what moves were faster than others. So yeah, much slower, high likelihood the opponent will strike. Remembering is extremely difficult, but focusing on the core moves will help the decision making. Alright. Shit. Very slight advantage there. Yeah, see, that's one of the things that sucks about, that's one more thing that sucks about arcade sticks. Hitting up can be kind of difficult. Because the recommended way to hold a stick, you have to push it up with your thumb. Which can be, sort of, difficult to do. Because obviously, not many muscles in your thumb. That's why so many people try so many different grips. But, that's why I learned to do it. It's the way that the person who taught me recommends doing it, so that's how I do it. Reducing stun with a passing link. So, yes, exactly. See, just like that. I was forgetting to head back, hold back there. Silly me. And now, counter hit. This is a real important mechanic to learn if you're into anime fighters. Or if you're into fighters in general. A lot of games have mechanics like this. So, yes. If you hit certain moves as counter hits, which is just as described while they're using their move, that'll cause higher hit stun than usual. However, A doesn't trigger counter hits. I was unaware of that. I'll get this, just trust me. There we go. Alright. Yeah, it took me a bit of time. You have to hit buttons out of water a lot in this game. My dumb ass isn't used to that. Because again, the game I got best at was Marble, and you did not do that much in that game. Now, drawbacks of Infinite Worth Excess. Not without its downside. If you use it outside of Vorpal, it'll cause you to enter Grid Break. Even if I do use Infinite Worth on the Vorpal, you'll exit Vorpal after use. Rather important to know. Pardon me, need to hydrate real quick. Excuse me. Alright. So, yes. If you use it outside of Vorpal, it'll cause you to enter Grid Break. Only use it if you know you're going to finish the opponent.
Success.
No example again. Damage scaling. This is another important mechanic. Lowers the damage double to hit. Heavy hitting attacks early in the combo. Alright. Yep. Again, generally you don't want to start with A. You want to start with a B move at the very least. Yep, just like that. And now, bounce limits. See that? Oops. This takes some concentration. Again, I'm not used to doing things out of order like this. Oh. Again, this is more difficult than it looks here. I'd like to think I'm not scrubbing it out completely, but theoretically it's easy. Like, you look at the prompt and it looks easy, but again, it's easier than you think to get mixed up. I think I almost had it there. Almost had it. I should probably take a moment to consider this here. No demo, that's right. This is only for, that's for mission mode, the combo trials. Would have been useful if I had a visual aid for this, but nope. Gotta do things an old-fashioned way. So, do you want me to finish the trial or should I just skip it? I'll bring in some viewer participation here. Because I don't know about you, but I'm getting kind of sick of looking at this trial, so, if you want me to skip, I will skip it. No response, I'll take that as a no. Alright. I guess I'll just spend another 5 minutes throwing myself at this. Okay, that was the closest I came so far. I'm not even sure why that didn't count as a whiff. Because if you observe, it did whiff. Oh well. Welp. There we go. Alright. Okay, I see what I did wrong there. I was charging every move and it only wanted me to charge that first C. Alright. Possibly a silly mistake, but these things happen. So yeah, you'll have to forgive me for delaying the inevitable there. Let's move on. Guarding against mixed attacks. Yep. Mixing attacks. So, yeah. Essentially, they're gonna mix it up on me. Try to mix me up. Whoops. Shit. Yep. Observe. That is what they call a mix-up. I'm getting blended here. So yeah, saving grace. The overhead is telegraphed as fuck. As Zop said earlier, that's sort of the rule of this game. If it hits overhead, it's gonna be telegraphed to all hell. That said, the sweep was a bit faster. Alright. Guarding against cross-ups. Here's another technique that's unique to this game in particular. Cross-ups occur when an attack is done by jumping over an opponent. They can be guarded against by entering the directional button forward or backward. So yeah, this game has anti-cross-up tech in it. Because the way a cross-up works in most other fighters, you have to hold a different direction than you expect, whereas this one, they essentially let you stay blocking in the same direction. Nice and simple. Guard strings. Block strings, also known as. Pardon my Yoda. Unable to take any action besides guarding. Repeatedly guarding attacks is called a guard string. Observe.
Success.
Just like that. Nice and simple. And now, teching stun. If you succeed in teching the opponent's move, you'll be able to move before the opponent. Try to rush with a crouching B after being teched. So, kind of with a standing C. Alright. Whoops.
Success.
Nice and simple. Throw mix-ups. Alright. So yeah, guarding can block most attacks except throws. Yep. Got mixed up.
Success.
So, yeah. They call that a success, but I really didn't succeed there. Because the one throw he threw in, it mixed me up. And now, moving throws. Hold A and B and then time D to do a moving throw. Requires timing and skill. Yep, press it slightly delayed. So I'm gonna be level through all. I'm actually not sure what I'm doing wrong. Fuck it, I'm skipping that one. With flows. Let's see what's going on here. Low attack upon landing after a jump. Yep. Whoops. And I'm hitting the wrong button. There we go. Alright. Aerial assault overhead combos. Yep. Alright. There we go. Alright. Was That one was a symbolism look. That was just me being an idiot. Next up, using dash to guard stun. Dashing in closer. Alright. Dashing into a guard stun. Alright. This puts you at risk. Yep.
Success.
Alright. Kind of wish I managed to get the dash macro in there, but they probably disabled it for good reason there. No. How to stop a rush. Just counter the rush attack. I was hitting the wrong damn button this entire time. Wow, that was a dumb mistake for me. Oh well. I got caught on video, now my mistake is there for the world to see. I was hitting B instead of C for like 5 minutes straight. Well, if nobody saw it, then it didn't happen. Besides like 5 viewers. What a tragedy. Guard thrust. So, essentially an alpha counter. In other words, an attack you can use while in block stun to escape a combo. There we go. I was really doing a completely different mechanic that was activated with a similar command for a second there. Don't know what that is quite yet, but I suppose we'll find out. Sure, counter from a guard. Yep. There we go. Again, rather simple. Sure counterattacks. Yep. Sure counter with a combo using high damage weapon attacks using such as B and C. Alright. Whoops. There we go. Simple counterattack. EX special and infinite worth blackout. Yep, timer stopped for a moment. They already mentioned this.
Success.
And no example. Types of quick recoveries. Aerial grounded emergency. Grounded emergency only have upwards and backwards. If you're going backward, grid goes down. Yep. How am I doing this? Attack when I come in contact with the ground. Well, I'm not sure what I did different there, but I guess that makes sense. Alright, critical mechanic we're looking at here. Okizeme, wake-ups. Time and attack over a downed opponent. So, down on a combo. Yep, layer and attack in that moment. Again, this is a critical mechanic to memorize, so. Whoops. I'll get the timing down on this eventually. Shit. That's fine, Layla. Go ahead. Have a good night. I'll respond to your DM after stream, and you can just respond to me in the morning. That's alright. See you later. Have a good night. Shit. Okay, stop mashing A. I figured that much out. Yep. Alright. Goodbye again. Yeah, you probably chose a good time to duck out. I'm probably gonna be stuck on this challenge for some time. Fuck. Yeah, on second thought, I should probably see how many. Oh wow, we got quite a number of these. Or no, not that many. Yeah, that's not too insane. That said, there's no way in hell we're gonna be able to get through these all tonight. And I think we'll skip the Oki for a bit and skip out to the grid. Grid break period. Shorten the break period. Alright. Simple. Anti-air shield. Blocked by a shield, can't be cancelled. Alright.
Success.
There we go. Nice and simple. Guard shield. So. And you can guard an attack with it. Ah, I see. Nice and simple. Chain shift cancel. Again, this is sort of a main reason behind chain shift. Essentially a Roman cancel. Reduce risk after slower attacks. Downsides. EXE phase goes less than a normal chain shift. So checks and balances here.
Success.
Simple enough. Chain shift whip cancel. Yep.
Success.
Again, rather simple. Simply kneecapped by the having to use stick. But what are you gonna do? Veil off hit effects. Few invincible frames and force into grid break. Really handy. Alright.
Success.
Yep. You can see it right there on the bottom. Power buff using Veil off during Vorpal. So if you stack them, if you activate them both, they stack. Fantastic.
Success.
Real crazy damage there. Cross cast Veil off. Canceling an attack to activate Veil off. This is a rather insane mechanic right here. Follow up with an extra attack. Less short than a normal Veil off. Naturally. They have to give it a disadvantage somehow. Alright. Might as well retry, that would take quite a while. Let's try this again. Whoops. Too far away. Fucked it up. Screwed it up again. Okay, fortunately I messed up early enough that I didn't have to reset. Yeah, forget it. I'm pushing him into the corner. There we go. Alright. So much easier to do in the corner than mid-screen. Now, grid break Veil off. Yep. Alright. Yep. Useful. And that's the end of the expert challenges. Except for the Oki. Veteran challenges. You know, on second thought, I think we're done for the night. Yeah. We made a good bit of progress, but I would say, we should probably call it a night there. Especially considering it was sort of falling apart there towards the end. It's unfortunate, but yeah. Fighting games are hard if that wasn't obvious enough. Especially if you want to do more than just mash buttons. But again, that's what makes them fantastic. That said, I am liking this game so far. It does use mechanics that I'm not used to, but again, I get the feeling that once I do get the hang of it, this will be a pretty fun game to mess around in. So yeah, expect more Under Night. Eventually. Not this week, but maybe sometime next week. I might even dedicate an entire week to trying to get good at this game. We'll see, because I need something to occupy myself while I wait for Strive. But again, that's up for my discretion. So yeah, I would say that was a decent enough little introduction to the game. I had a fairly good time. Generally, I would say if you're having a good time doing the tutorial, then that's a good sign. And I would say I did, despite how much certain challenges drove me up the wall. But again, maybe next stream, next time I stream this, I'll hopefully have a little more patience. Just come in with a fresh mind. That said, we're finished here for the night, so thank you all very much for coming. I believe it's time for us to pick out a raid target. So, let's see who's on. So, Sumada, Picky, Leo and Alice, Serena, EXE on. Yeah, fuck it, let's go for a left field choice. Let's, go say hello to Egg. Why not? We are raiding Egg. So, yes. Thank you all very much for coming. Look forward to, my music stream. Yep, next time I stream, I'm bringing back the songwriting streams. However, I will warn you ahead of time, that's going to be a bit of an experimental stream. And that I'm actually going to be doing a minimal commentary on that one. So, I would say my main influence there is actually Crimbo and his no mic art streams. That said, I will obviously provide commentary here and there, but I'm not going to go over every little detail I do. That said, you would still be welcome to theoretically talk to me if you pleased, but again, let's we'll do it when we do it. Actually, that said, I don't think I'm in the mood to say hi to Egg. You know, I haven't raided Picky yet. I say we go raid Picky. Yes, indeed, we're going to raid Picky Channel. She has another fantastic feature that I haven't raided yet, so why not? So yeah, brace for impact. We're going to raid Picky. Thank y'all very much. See you Wednesday for the songwriting stream, and have a good night till then. Later.